Hi, folks. And in most of the areas in the U.S. right now, it's towards the end of July when I'm recording this. It is hot and humid. In general, it's been hotter. The humidity is probably about the same, but hotter than normal for summer right now. And of course, lots of people are struggling with runs. So I thought I'd talk a little bit about running in some heat and humidity. So first of all, people hear about, if I can get my paper up here, eventually. Acclimation. How do you get acclimated to this? So acclimation takes 10 to 14 days. That means after 10 to 14 days of running in relatively the same temperatures and humidity, your body does acclimate. That does not mean you don't need to make adjustments. It does not mean it's going to be easy, but it becomes a little bit easier. The key thing being that's 10 to 14 days consistently like that. So if you have 3 or 4 days of, say, 75 degrees and 90% humidity, then it drops down into the 60s for a while, then it gets back up. That you're not going to acclimate to that as well, but when you consistently have hotter, warmer weather, it does become a little bit easier, but there's still some things you want to adjust. So here's how you can do, or some tips for running in this hot, humid weather. So first of all, most important, you have to be hydrated all the time, and especially during your run. And hydration includes electrolytes. It's not just about water or milk. You've got to get electrolytes in you as well, especially when you're running. Because I'm here to tell you, if you start a run of any significance at all and you are not hydrated to begin with, you're not going to be able to keep up during that run. Many times, if it's extremely warm and humid, it's very difficult to keep up even if you're hydrated. So if you did absolutely nothing else this summer to prepare yourself for the hot, humid weather, you just got to stay really well hydrated. That's the single biggest thing that you can do. Next, get out of the sun to the extent you can. Start early. If your schedule allows, get out before the sun gets up, or at least before the sun gets up very high. If you got to be out when there's going to be sun, get into the shade. When you have direct sun, you get a lot of radiant heat. It can easily add 10 degrees to the temperature. This last weekend, when I was running, the air temperature I think was about 73 degrees or so, but there wasn't a cloud in the sky, and most of the course had no shade on it. So it was really effectively more like probably 82. It was a good 10 degrees warmer with the radiant heat, so get out of the sun to the extent that you can. So clothing matters. Obviously, you want to wear ideally dry fit materials that wick the moisture away, something not too form-fitting. Don't wear dark clothes. It's amazing how often you'll see people out running in the sun wearing a black shirt and black shorts. Try and wear lighter colors. Try and wear as little clothing as you can get away with, because that clothing just gets wet and it kind of sticks to your body. Next big thing, adjust your pace. Almost all running is about effort, not about a specific pace. And if you're supposed to run, say, a 9-minute pace, but it's 80 degrees, 95% humidity, I'm here to tell you, a 9-minute pace is going to kill you. You've got to slow that down, go a little bit more my feel. Don't be afraid to adjust that pace. Let's talk about long runs. Those get to be more challenging. It's one thing to have a run, say, during the week. You might be 60 minutes, but now you've got, say, I've got a 17-mile long run coming up this weekend. Well, one thing you could do is you could consider splitting your long run if necessary. Now, it's not ideal to split your long runs, but it's not a big deal if you do that now and then. So what do I mean by splitting? Well, as I said, I've got 17 coming up. Now, I'm going to get out like at 5 in the morning. I'm going to get all 17 in. I'm not concerned about that. But I might say, you know what, I'm going to do 10 miles in the morning, and then I'm going to do 7 miles in the evening after the sun is down. If that's what it takes, you can split a long run. You can split it across 2 days. That's a little bit more challenging to do. But as long as it's not something that you're doing all the time, if you need to, then go ahead and split your long run if that's what you have to do. Shorten the distance. Nobody ever wants to hear that, but maybe there's a point in time where the distance is just more than you're going to be able to do in those conditions. As I said, even if you're well hydrated to start with, sometimes it can be tough to keep up with hydration. So how do you know when you should shorten the distance? For any workout, even if it's not hot and humid, once you've lost the purpose of the workout, then there's no point in doing the workout anymore. So let's go back to a long run. A long run usually is going to be a slow, steady, fairly easy effort. Well, if you're getting to the point in time where it's not an easy effort and you're struggling and you're dying, then that's not the purpose of the long run anymore, and you might as well call it a day and not be doing it at that point anymore. So while you might have, say, 17 scheduled, if you can only get in 14 and do 14 quality miles, maybe that's all that you can do that day, because really the overriding thing with everything is you got to be safe and you got to be smart. Safe, run with other people if you need to. When in doubt, do a little bit less. Don't try and be a hero and say you got to get pushed. I see so many people try and push through and they just beat their bodies up. So running in the heat and humidity is tough. There's just no doubt about it. But as I said, there are some things that you can do and apply some common sense. But more than anything, Be safe, be smart.